The following podcast is a member of the Pokecasters Network. Pokecasters Network, supporting Pokemon content creators, their shows, and the community of Pokemon fans. To find out more, check out PokecastersNetwork.com or find us on Twitter and Facebook.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Arc 4 Q&A. This was streamed as of this episode last Saturday on twitch.tv/TheodoranRegion. If you want to follow that account, I would appreciate it. First off, thank you very much. I am, of course, Anirudh, the GM, the PM, the DM of Not a Scratch. You're listening to the end of Arc 4, the Q&A that kind of resolves any sort of questions that you might have, both about the future of the show and the events that occurred in Arc 4 and trying to fix those things in between. We were asking for questions all throughout basically the entire month of April as we were winding down Arc 4. We asked on Twitter and Discord, and we had a bunch of amazing questions that we've touched on. One thing I will say, if your question isn't in the episode, we did read through it, and we did go through everything. It was just probably a question that was very closely associated to another question that was asked. So apologies if you don't hear your name called or something along those lines. But we promise we have answered your questions regardless of where and when you sent them. There's a couple of announcements that we're going to make right here rather than have an entire separate announcement episode. And I should have written them down, but I did not. So we will see how this works. The first thing, of course, that's probably most important to most of y'all is the schedule of events that's going to be happening. So this is the current game plan. There might be extra stuff added in here, but if everything is stripped down to the bare minimum, the current structure and the way that things are going to work today, obviously, is the Q&A. Next week is going to be the Arc 4 summary episode, which goes over the entirety of Arc 4 in hopefully a short amount of time. The last Arc summer episode was about an hour, so an average episode length, something along that line, and going over the full Arc. So I'm expecting this one to be roughly the same as well. So that is the case there. We'll have this, that, the Arc summary episode next week. The following week will be any special episodes that I've recorded with previous winners of giveaways that we've done in the past. I've been holding on to a few items and want to release them at the proper point. Those will all be released somewhat sporadically in between the summary episode and 2 weeks from now, where the expectation is that Arc 5 Episode 0 will happen. Why do we say Arc 5 Episode 0? I'm not going to try to spoil anything. If you're listening to this, I would hope that you've listened to Arc 4, or at the very least the summary episode next week. But there were some shenanigans that occurred throughout Arc 4 that needs to be resolved, and we actually spent an entire episode trying to figure out and hash out all the things that were fixed and messed up, I suppose, throughout this previous arc. So there's Arc 5 Episode 0. I would highly recommend checking that out because we sort of establish what's canon and what's not, especially with things going forward. So would recommend that. You don't have to listen to it. We try to make sure that we touch on the differences in the first couple of episodes that we've recorded so far of Arc 5, but I would recommend it just to make sure that you're in the same boat as well. I'm trying to see if there are any announcements that I should be making. Just going through like old midsections and stuff like that. Might as well promo them now while we're here. You can follow the show on Twitter at NotAScratchCast. You can email us at notascratchcast.com. You can join the Discord, which is down below. There's a bunch of amazing members that have joined, and the community has grown to a size that I can't believe it's at. So if you want to make it even larger, that's really great. You can also check out the website that we've got at www.notascratchcast.com. Website has access to our episodes, our merch page, and art page with commissioned and fan art. If you want to send us your fan art, we would love to see it. With your permission, of course, we would gladly post it on the website with your credit and everything. So that is a thing that you can do as well. Throughout this entire episode, Glitchx City has a 1-hour lo-fi remix that we loop a couple of times with a bunch of different Glitchx City songs. Check them out if you haven't already. It's a fantastic listen. It's very much that lo-fi, chill, study vibes type of thing. We also want to shout out patrons. I don't think we've done this in previous Q&A episodes, but we might as well do that now. So shout out every single one of the Patreon members that we have so far. Your support really, truly is helpful in building all the different content that we're creating here on Not a Scratch and beyond. And there's a bunch of awesome stuff that's going to be released pretty soon. In fact, if not now, sometime later this week, the Susie first episode, I guess, the official episode, will be released. So check that out if it's not up already. It might be a day or two, depending on how scheduling works for me. But check that out if you haven't already. Thank you so much for Guild interns Ginny, Harper, Ursa93, and Damon Liger, our Guild member Kira1, our Guild master Eli, our Governor Suited Tree, and our Weekly Go Pure Glaceon. Your support is incredibly helpful, and thank you very much for that. That is most things. I'm trying to think if there are any other announcements that occur throughout the episode that I would want to mention now. One thing that is coming soon, so merch related, I am very interested in selling pins. I've been working on trying to design these sort of pins. Some of the designs are already established if you've gone through our merch page in the past. I want to test it out a little bit. But the problem with this is that unlike most of the merch that we have here, where it's more print on demand, if you order things, then it's created and immediately sent to you. This is one of those things where I've got to send stuff to me and I have to ship it out myself. So if not already, sometime, actually, it's going to be up now probably because I can just work on it immediately afterwards. So here's what I'll say. If you are interested in getting some of these pins, there's a limited quantity that's going to be made. And then maybe never coming back again. I don't want to say that because I hate, putting a stamp on things like that. But that's a potential at least. If you're interested, check out the website www.notascratchcast.com. Go to the merch section. It should be available there. The pin, I guess pre-order is effectively what it is. I'm just trying to gauge interest here, and then from there, I'll order it. It'll take a while, and I apologize for that. But I'm just trying to figure out how that'll work from there. There's also one more quick thing I want to mention. Two things, I guess. The website is going to undergo a lot of different changes or additions, I guess. Two things. Number one, there's going to be almost like a wiki on the website that is established over time. This is another location that is going to be just there for people to access information about characters and events and so on. That's, again, a long-term play, but something that we're going to be developing. And the second thing is something that has been pretty interesting to most people, or at least most people have talked about. I am going to start releasing portions of resources that I've been using. So if you ever want to know some of the system related stuff or items like that, not the full system, unfortunately, because all of that is still under wraps, but there are some aspects of that are going to be released as well. So look for that in the near future as well. That is basically it. Thank you very much, everyone, for your support. If I'm forgetting anything, then me from a couple days ago will probably answer it in the Q&A section. Feel free to contact me at Aduran Region if you're interested in any questions, comments, or concerns about the show. Without further ado, let us get to that Q&A section. Thank you so much again for your support. It really does help. And here is our final cap and conclusion on Arc 4. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Not a Scratch, the only podcast that believes that Scratch is an overpowered move. I am your host, your PM, your DM, your GM, Anirudh himself, and with me here, dumping a whole bottle of Mentos into a bottle of Coke.
It's me, Mohammed. You joke, but I actually have some Mentos on my desk, and I will run down and get some Coke. I am not afraid to do it.
I am. We gotta continue the episode.
Yeah, you raise a fair point.
As mentioned previously, as you may know, it is us two now. I am going to say this right here, right now. This is a disclaimer at this point. Officially, from this point forward, everything that is mentioned from this point forward is considered a spoiler for everything that has occurred on Not a Scratch from episode 0.0 to episode whatever number we're at. Plus or minus.
Can I give like a slight spoiler also for Arc 5 episode 0? Because Arc 5 episode 0 is just going to be us figuring out what happened in Arc 4.
Very true. There's an entire episode dedicated to us just being like, okay, so what happened?
Yeah.
All right. So as a result of that, we now continue our intro. This is a spoiler for how Arc 5 episode 0 starts off. As you may know, Mansour, unfortunately, not with us today. He is on assignment right now in Japan, actually, funnily enough.
Oh, interesting. Is he where in Japan? Is he Tokyo, Kyoto, somewhere
He's
else?
in Kanto, actually. He's living out his Pokemon dream.
Oh, good for him. Good for him.
Yeah, unfortunately, scheduling conflicts means that Mansour was unable to join us for the Q&A, though shout out to him doing the whole education thing that I distinctly remember at some point in my life I was doing at one point.
Yeah, it feels like forever ago.
Right. So welcome to the Q&A. I initially was going to put music on and then realized that I don't know how that works. And I didn't want to repeat the same music that the thingy thing was. So let me go figure out how to do that while Muhammad starts talking as I throw him under the bus.
Oh my goodness, I start talking. Okay. I guess I'll do this so you don't have to. This will probably be cut out of the episode, but for y'all on the stream, y'all know the deal with the Q&A. You've thrown Anirudh questions on Twitter. You've thrown questions in the Discord. You can also throw questions in the stream chat as we are going and recording. And we'll get to... I'm not going to say all of the questions because Anirudh may have some questions that he doesn't want to answer, particularly about some food products and dishes. But we'll get to as many as we can. So yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on the stream chat and making note of any interesting questions that we don't answer, reminding Anirudh while he flies around between Twitter and Discord and whatever Excel sheet he has to keep track of everything going on in his life, to answer questions. I don't know how much longer I'm supposed to be stalling. I'm just gonna kind of continue rambling into the microphone here. This is gonna be really fun in post for Anirudh to listen to. I know that much. Yeah, y'all are getting a little window into what it's like recording. Sometimes someone needs to step away for a bit, and if it's Anirudh, sometimes me and Mansour, sometimes just me, will just ramble like this, and just leaving fun little nuggets here. So just keep stalling. Well, see, the thing about stalling is you actually don't want to stall. And when I talk about stalling, I'm talking about, in flight, if your plane is at too steep of an angle, it'll stall out because of the Bernoulli principle is what makes the plane actually generate lift, because you're basically taking the difference in air pressure to lift the plane, and for that the wing needs to actually be somewhere closer to parallel.
I'm here at this point. I'm just listening.
But and this is important for when you're folding paper planes. If your plane generates too much lift, it'll actually begin to tilt straight up, and at that point that's what you get is called a stall. And a stall is no good because then your plane just falls. So too much stalling leads to falling.
Yeah, well done. Okie doke. So, I'm gonna turn this on. There is music in the background. It should be a Glitch X City hour-long thing that they've created. Sorry. Let me know how it sounds on your end. And by your end, of course,
I can't hear a thing.
Yeah, you can hear it. But I am asking for our stream. If you could let us know if this is loud, quiet, good, not good.
If it's louder than me, then it's at the right volume. If it's louder than Anirudh, then we have a problem.
Just gonna wait on chat to let me know. I also need to find the questions because I've been scrolling through. Thought my phone was ringing for a second. That's a good sign that you can hear it because it does start off like a phone tone.
Also, yeah, earlier y'all got a window into what it's like for me in our recordings, because y'all hear the episodes with music, and during the streams y'all hear the music, and during recordings and during streams I hear silence. So yeah, it's weird.
All right, let's go with that. I think that's good. Yeah, Mohammed, say something real quick just to make sure.
Oh yes, hello.
Okay.
And yeah, Eli, I am sorry I missed the reference, missed the joke. Many good references are wasted on me, and for that I apologize.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. Who's ready for some questions? And mainly I'm asking myself and Mohammed here.
I'm not ready, but hey, we gotta do what we gotta do.
All right, great. I'm going through. So I posted the questions that I've received on Twitter on the Discord. There haven't been as many this time, but I do know chat will obviously throw questions throughout the entire stream. So shout out to all of you. So we're gonna go from the very beginning. I will call you out and throw you under the bus when your question is good or not. So, first question
We will
from
be
Eli.
judging all of these questions incredibly harshly.
Yes. First question from Eli. I've answered this. Mohammed, I want to hear your opinion on this. Completely unrelated to anything that happened in Arc 4, so we gotta love it. Back in December.
Oh no.
So Eli was currently was re-listening to the show and noticed something odd. They asked, why would the first game of the baseball season be in June? Good question.
That's a great question. Anirudh, do you want to explain that one?
So I wrote down in Discord, there were two different explanations depending on where you want to look at it. In universe, there are only 8 teams, and based on the schedule, the entire season is about 12 weeks long. So starting in June, ending around late August, early September, just fits. Out of universe, the story began in June. We thought of the baseball idea in June. It's in June.
That is the official stance of the Not a Scratch creation team.
There you go.
The second question, not the first. No, the second answer, not the first answer.
Yes.
The first answer is just, a
An answer.
coincidence. It's a coincidence. It's a coincidence is what it is.
All right. Now it's time to go back to figuring out where questions are. If anyone, of course, in chat has a question, please let us know. Throw it into the chat. Muhammad is scanning the chat regularly.
I mean, you say scanning regularly. It's kind of the only thing in front of me right now. So.
Okay. I'm just scrolling through trying to find things. Eli mentioned in February, Not a Scratch needs to be adapted into an anime. Yo.
Would be kind of sick. If anyone knows any animation studios with just extra money lying around, hit us up.
All right. Let's see. Where else are we going through here? Well, I've actually noticed this as well. No one's ever mentioned this. I don't even think Muhammad knows all of them. The secrets inside the new logo. I just remember that.
Oh yeah, I don't know all of them. I don't think I know any of them.
I mean, some of them are fairly obvious, like the fist is Ralph and the leaf is Kyle.
Well, when you say secrets of the new logo, I assume things that are new to the new logo.
Or meanings in the new logo. How's that?
Oh, well, then, I mean, the
know
ones from the old logo, that makes sense, but...
All right, I'm not answering that question because it's about foods. I'm not answering any of those. It's about food. Okay, I will ask this. Ginny asked a question in chat that I will answer because I don't have to answer it. What are Ralph and Kyle's favorite foods? What's Kyle's at least?
What's Kyle's favorite food? What have we seen Kyle eat? We've seen Kyle
fruits and veggies.
We've seen Kyle go for like salads and like
I think there was a salad
like
in the
leafier
restaurant.
foods. Like fruits and nuts and those kind of things. I don't know if we've seen Kyle eat anything else. In my mind, Kyle's not a picky eater. Kyle just knows what he likes, which is code for he's kind of a picky eater, but isn't really rude about it. That's my headcanon I've got going.
All right, I like that. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm trying to think. If there's anything Ralph has mentioned in the past?
Has Ralph had burger?
He said something similar. I'm trying to remember whatever you guys
Was
ate
it like
in
a
that cafe
burger or
that
like
one
a
time.
hot dog or like a corn dog or like?
That's what I would think. Something.
It was some sort of ballpark food I know Ralph has enjoyed in the past.
Right. I think I remember Snow buying popcorn or something like that. That's one of my favorite foods, at least. Give me a bag of popcorn any day.
I feel like I don't like popcorn as much as I should. Or let me amend that statement. I like popcorn just fine. I just never really like popcorn is never at the top of my snack hierarchy for whatever reason. I don't mind. It's not like I don't like popcorn. It's just for whatever reason not a go-to.
Cool. Rigel asked in March. I have to specify these if they're not immediately. What are your majors? Ooh.
I think this is one that we've answered previously.
We might have.
We could refresh. So Anirudh's an economist.
Yep.
I'm a scientist, and Mansour is an engineer. More specifically, computer science.
Yeah, I was about to say computer science.
Mechanical engineering.
When you say scientists, computer scientists, are they scientists in the same term as like lab coat scientists?
I mean, depending what you're doing, maybe. Like by trade, right now I'm an engineer, but I mean, in school I was doing more math than engineering. So I'm like an engineer of numbers, if that makes sense. That's an awful way to describe like software engineering and computer science, but
Yeah.
I'm trying.
All right. Eli asked in where is this? Yeah, in March. Would you guys ever do an episode live? We've thought about this at least, haven't we?
Yeah, like we did the Q&As live. I think the big thing with us doing episodes live is typically we record things so far in advance, or at least decently far in advance. So if we were to record episodes live, we wouldn't have as much of that kind of backlog for times that we can't record. One, and then two, people would have to be fully caught up to listen live and not get spoiled.
Yeah, at this point with this series at least, if I were to do another show, there's more of a chance of it being live, but even that would have its own wrinkles, right?
Yeah. So like for like the Not a Scratch like main plot, it's I don't know your thoughts on it. I'm not gonna try speaking for you, but I think when the idea first came up, the hesitation was kind of like the consensus hesitation was, well, if people aren't caught up, they can't, tune in live, and if people tune in live, they'll be like kind of ahead, and that was a whole thing.
Yeah.
But like for like special episodes, Q&As, other series, I don't think there's any real aversion to it.
Right. Has there been anything in chat?
We have had a few questions in chat. I've been waiting to see if you wanted to pull them out yet.
Yeah, let's start with the chat, if chat's got any questions.
All right. Well, Glaceon asks, I know there's different power levels. Power levels is like hierarchy levels of legendaries. So like Kyogre is lower than Arceus, for example. What level of legendary was Ralph?
Ooh, interesting question. I have to say Arceus level, right? If for that brief moment in time.
Was Ralph Arceus level?
I mean, Arceus gave the power, so you would think it's at least somewhere in that ballpark.
Well, okay,
right?
in terms of I think maybe we can separate this into two different questions, because there's power level in terms of just sheer like amount of power, and then there's also like the hierarchy, right? Because like
okay, so
I'm
like
sure Celebi is probably weaker in terms of like just raw power than some other legendaries, but probably has a higher hierarchy level in the grand scheme of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or like Mew. I think Mew is another decent example of this. Like Mew versus Mewtwo. Mewtwo I think would be lower on the hierarchy scale.
Right.
At least among the Pokemon themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So in terms of like raw power level, like sure, I think like at least Arceus level, I buy it. But in terms of the hierarchy, like if they're all sitting in the forest, in the meeting place,
mm-hmm.
where is Ralph in the pecking order?
In the very back.
Really?
Like at the bottom of the hierarchy.
Below everyone. Because in terms, the way that I see it, you're there for a split second, and you see, so you've got an expiration date on yourself, and you're the youngest legendary, if you want to think about it from that perspective. Like, you've been the legendary for the least amount of time, so you're generally at the bottom anyway. He's a legendary apprentice.
Exactly. And then that lasts all of a few minutes in order to defeat Darkrai. So
Gotcha.
That's at least the logic I go with.
Okay. So yeah, sure, he may have saved the entire world, but hey, he hasn't been kicking it as long as Keldeo has.
Basically.
So fair enough.
Well, okay, so here's the easiest way to describe it. Actually, this is a funny thing to think about. Okay, so we've sort of implied that legendaries and mythicals and all of them have that like special ability. Keldeo has his rage mode. Everybody else has their own things. I have to go grab my notebook because I've written down some other ones. But each character has their own sort of special ability.
Yeah.
Ralph doesn't have one, and if he does, his special ability is that 19s are now crits. So
his special ability is just being lucky. He is just he's just Victini.
Basically. And that had to technically, in terms of plot wise, had to be given to him by you, a la Tarot deck, because I don't think you'd remember this, but I forced you to give him a card that said 19s would turn into crits, and then that sort of imbued him with some power. But that was given to you by somebody else, and so all of that just kind of built in there. So, if you're a legendary or a mythical without that special ability, are you really a legendary? Are you actually good, Go?
Ooh, this is I'm curious to see what people think on that one, because it's definitely a spicy take. I'll say that much.
But that's the case there. I think the next chat question is a you question, so let me grab the red notebook while
okay, yeah.
answer that one.
Yeah. Rigel asked if it were to happen, it being a not a scratch anime, would Muhammad want to voice Kyle himself, or would he let some voice actor do it? In that case, who would that be? I'm not familiar with voice actors all too much, so I don't have an answer for who exactly. But I do know that I probably would not. It would be best for me not to voice Kyle. I think there are definitely many much more talented people out there who could bring Kyle much more to life than I could. I want to have some sort of role, but for a role that big, I don't know if I'd do it justice. Would probably want someone a little bit more dynamic to voice Kyle.
Someone that actually sticks with the voice for Kyle.
Yeah, that's a starting point. That's a starting point. I think being able to stick. Although to be fair, if Kyle is being portrayed in the anime the way I kind of portrayed him for like an arc and a half or 2 arcs where he has literally no lines, sure, I'll voice him. If the line is an occasional, if it's just like an occasional like one-off or like one sentence or one word line, sure, I'll do that. I can do that. That's no problem.
All right.
I mean, even if we reach like verb levels of lines in an episode, that's where I draw the line. That's where it's like, all right, that's too much. You're asking too much of me.
Multiple lines in episode? Nah, bro, I'm good. Cool. Anything else in chat, or do you want to jump back to Discord?
We can answer one more chat question since Glaceon just asked one.
Cool.
Glaceon asks, what are the chances of a new permanent member of Not a Scratch? I know you said it was just Kyle for now.
Yeah, so this is something that we're kind of going to test out in Arc 5 itself. Spoilers for Arc 5 that aren't really spoilers. This episode, there's just going to be one player character, and then the DM running everything else. We'll see how that goes. If it goes well, then we might stick with what we've got. If it doesn't go well, we might try to find somebody else that can pop in. It's hard to have, because the situation will be either someone pops in and takes over a character that's already been established, or someone pops in and becomes a new recruit member, which among other issues means that we've got an odd number of doors, and that's going to be real confusing at the end of the day. So yeah, Arc 5 is kind of the testing point of how that is. That is all I will say. I have other things that are in my head, but they spoil long-term plays. So,
I will say I could give probably some more specific insight that would not be spoiler free. That would be spoiler free because I don't know what there is to spoil. As a player. But yeah, Arc 5 we're doing, just me playing Kyle. From my perspective, and I mean I've told Anirudh as much, and we're kind of on the same page about this, is things are definitely going to be different in Arc 5. Like I can't say specifically whether it'll be on par with the first 4 arcs or worse, but I do know that just in terms of playing the game and building out the story, it is for me much easier when I am not the only player, and I think it'll bring an extra voice and an extra bit of energy for the show. In my opinion, wouldn't hurt. But at the same time, it's about like Mansour, me and Anirudh were friends for years before we went on this endeavor. So it'll definitely be like, if we want to bring someone in, it would have to be the right fit, right person. So that's what I'll say about that.
Yeah. All right, bouncing back to Discord, I think.
Yeah, we can bounce back to Discord for a bit.
All right. Eli asks, we're now in April, so that's finally a good sign. How much fun did I have listening to all of Muhammad's theories throughout the arc while knowing that most were completely wrong? Also, did they have any effect on your storyline?
Now's the time to admit it. Now's the time to admit it, Anirudh.
I greatly enjoy when my players have theories and they are very wrong. I enjoy them internally.
That's not what I was hoping for you to admit. We all knew that one.
Do they have any effect on my storyline in arc 4? Theory-wise, I don't think so. I think in my head I was pretty established. Hey, Fran. Glad to see that you're here for a brief moment. Yeah, watch out if you want to be spoiler free. Head out of chat. When it came to arc 4, in terms of what was happening and when it was happening, when it was happening, that was kind of well established. Like I knew who. I would say a couple episodes in, I knew because it was explicitly clear what the entire arc was going to be about, and I'm trying to stall to make sure that Fran has time to leave in case there are spoilers. Yes, I will let you know, Fran, about the new show and stuff. There's actually something coming out later today. Cough, cough, wink, wink. Because it would have been earlier today, but I couldn't render it in time. So in terms of not a scratch, I knew basically a couple episodes in who the big bad was. I knew the whole storyline regarding the big bad and their underlings, I guess. And I'm trying to stall as much as I can. Most of that was pretty established. It was the journey itself and how it was. See you, friend. The journey and how it was done on the fly and probably influenced by both Mansour and Muhammad. But in terms of like, this is the big bad person, and then this is why these people do what they do, and so on and so forth, that was kind of established going into the arc. I kind of knew what it was going to be then. All right, at this point,
so you're telling me I wasn't in control? You're telling me that I was just playing into your ego?
In regards to what?
I don't know, man.
Because you stealing the items from yourself was very much not in my game plan.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. But yeah, no.
All right, we can spoil stuff now. I'm gonna hope Fran is out by now. So Darkrai being big bad, Spiritomb being side bad, that was pretty established. In my head. How you did Keldio's tasks wasn't. I think I kind of just threw things out there, and then y'all picked a direction to go in. Yeah,
that's kind of how that went. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there something else that you would think?
I mean, I think the biggest things was just like, I think especially like Darkrai and Spiritomb were like the biggest, things that I was trying to figure out. And like, I don't know, especially like early in Arc 4, I thought I was pushing the story, or I don't know if I genuinely thought or if I just convinced myself that I was steering the story in the direction of Darkrai. I was just pushing for it because I was like, this makes sense, this would be cool, and then it was that, and I was like, cool, I knew something.
That's why I'm saying I'm not sure if your theories were wrong necessarily. I think the way that we both got the same answer, but the way that you did it was different than the way that I did it, and the way that you did it was wrong. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You can add 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, and that'll make 8, or you could do 2 times 4 is 8. Both lead to the correct answer, but if I'm looking for the multiplication method, then that's the only right method, right? Okay, but also in like 3rd or 4th grade when you're learning multiplication. You get that. This is the best example.
They do teach you that 2 times 4 is 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, but no, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, I do know that you definitely got a kick out of me just throwing things at the wall and seeing what stuck.
I actually, funnily, I don't know if I told you this or not. There was one segment where I think Mansour had to dip for some reason, and for about like 15 minutes or so, and you spent the 15 minutes just going through a bunch of theories, and I took that clip and posted it on Patreon that anyone can access. You don't have to pay for it. But I found that very enjoyable.
Nice. I'm gonna need to go and find this because I don't remember when this was. I don't remember what I said. I'm kind of terrified to look at it.
This is end of arc. I think this was like episodes. There were 19 episodes, I think, in this arc. I think this was episode like 16 or 17.
Okay.
So near
second
endgame.
last day. Last day. Yeah.
Near endgame.
This was probably me theorizing about like the very end of the arc.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like that entire arc, I kind of just leaned into the let me see how much I can get away with. And in reality, what did I get away with? Nothing. But hey, it was fun. I just played it to Anirudh's ego. It was a good time.
All right, let me scroll back through chat now that I have this open. Let's see.
I can let you know where we left off in terms of the most recent question that we have answered.
Was it the permanent member one?
That's the most recent one we answered. Yes.
Okay, so the next one. Okay, of all the minor characters, cameos, and audience characters so far on the show, who would you want to voice? I think this is to you.
This is to me, but I'm also gonna flip it to you as
else.
Well. Yeah. But if it, let's say, and not me throwing it to you, so I have time to stall. But let's say there were to be a not a scratch anime. Would you want to voice everyone that you voice now? If not, are there some characters that you would particularly want to voice versus, having professionals come in and voice some of the characters?
Purely ego based, because I can think of a few people that would easily be. Of course, if we have a pick of anybody, I can think of a bunch of people that would be better for these specific voices. But like the ultra big bad that has still not been revealed, or maybe has. Who knows? I think Mansour had a theory about who the ultra big bad was.
Was it the ultra big bad or the mole that he had the theory about? I don't remember which.
The ultra big bad.
Okay.
I think, if I remember correctly. I'd love to voice them. The problem is that voice is basically a slightly calmer Joker, and I know Mark Hamill could do that significantly better than I can. But I would love to voice them. A lot of the more distinct characters, I guess. I would prefer to do the male characters as well, because my female characters boil down to Snow, Susie, which is just a higher pitched Snow, or Mrs. Quagmire.
Yeah,
there's not really many other styles that I go with for different characters. But yeah, maybe Ralph. Ralph would be a fun character to voice.
Ralph would be fun to try. I would not do Ralph justice.
That's the thing. Could I do it well?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I'm doubting I could do Kyle justice. So, all right. Here's an interesting question. I'm gonna throw out there as a follow up to this before we keep scrolling down the chat. If there was an Honor Scratch anime, which character do you think I would be able to voice the best in terms of main, side, whatever? And why is it not Kyle?
I think you're too energetic for Kyle. Because Kyle feels like I don't want to say Sasuke, because Sasuke goes in revolts, but that sort of
interesting,
extremely serious all the time. Kyle is that, and I don't think you throughout episodes we can tell when you we joked about this either in the previous one or the one before that, where
I think both.
Kyle and Muhammad are clearly distinct, but Mansour and Ralph aren't as distinct.
Yeah,
we talked about that. When I can tell when you're Muhammad when you start getting really hype about something.
Yeah.
And Kyle really hyped about something is just eyes wide, oh my gosh, versus you was just I knew this.
True, but also I think, that is an element to acting, I would say, is it not?
Sure.
Yeah.
Who could you voice though? I gotta go down my Rolodex of people.
He's busting out the whole Excel sheet with all the side characters. Oh no.
I'm doing this in my head.
I'm about to voice someone really obscure who has only showed up in one episode and has one line, and Honor's perfect, you can be that guy, say one word.
Hey, well, Kyle, Mohammed, you did want to have one line, right? So you remember that I think it was a Patrat teacher from Arc Zero?
Oh my goodness.
Showed up once just to pick up papers?
Oh no. Oh no. I'm showing up once in a flashback.
I don't think, no, it's in the Arc Zero thing, so there you go.
Even worse, that's just early filler.
Exactly.
It's early filler episode material.
All right, in all seriousness, who could you voice? I'm trying to think of someone that shows up fairly commonly.
Doesn't have to be someone who shows up very commonly, I don't think.
Ooh, Adam. I think you could do that pretty well. Adam's a bit more energetic than Kyle. I think you could work with Adam pretty good.
I think I could probably voice Adam okay. There are definitely professionals out there who could do it better, but I think I do okay. I can agree with that. I can get behind it.
All right. That's that question. Pure Glaceon, very quick question. Were there any custom NPCs in Arc 4? There were not. I didn't want to have one of your custom PCs thrown into an area that we would never go back to. So I did not use any custom PCs for Arc 4, which is why I've been I've been collecting your ideas, but I've kind of just been holding off on them until now, because I haven't done this as much, which I probably should do more of. I like to reuse characters, so if they show up in Arc 4, they'll show up in Arc 7, hypothetically speaking. Except in this case, of course, Arc 4 was in the past in its own distinct universe, so I didn't want to use an NPC then. So that was my logic, at least. I apologize for the significant delay, but now that we're back in the regular time, I can use you and then use your character at least, and then be able to work with it, build off of it, use them again later if necessary.
Yeah, I will throw out there, like, as a bit of a clarifying point, and this is something that we talk about in Arc 5, Episode 0. Arc 4, almost the entirety of it is almost like a completely different timeline.
Yeah.
In a way. And then also, beyond that, just in terms of what happens in the finale of Arc 4, kind of the whole show just kind of shifts tracks in terms of, timeline and story continuity and everything. So that's something that in Arc 5 Episode 0 we get into a bit more in terms of like clarifying, okay, what's actually happened in this timeline, who exists, what's occurred, how did things go down.
We don't do the butterfly effects scenario of like this small change happened way back when and now everything explodes in different differences. There is a point that we shift and then that changes some things, but we do basically for our own sanity. We don't make it so that, okay, because XYZ doesn't happen, now it turns out Kyle's actually he's actually a Ditto. And,
surprise.
And I don't know. There, instead of 8 countries, there's only 1, and it's run by a dictator, and it just turns into like Star Wars or something. I don't know.
No. It's not like that at all. It's more just in terms of like small details, things being shifted. But like from Arc 5 on, technically this is just a new, not a scratch timeline.
Yep. All of the old rules will mostly apply. There'll be some things we change, and that'll be talked about in Episode 0, Arc 5. Cool. Eli asks, unless you have anything else, Mohammed.
No, I'm good.
Eli asks, what was the deal with the bottle? Not sure if that was asked anywhere yet.
As well. Yeah, I can see, even though there is no video, no one has any cameras on, I can see you looking at me, and I'm not answering this question. I don't know what was going on with the bottle. You tell me.
All right. Here's what I'll explain. Pure Glaceon asks, are you planning on basing any of your arcs on mythological events? It's like how Arc 4 was Hercules. Great question. No comment about the bottle.
No, we're not gonna address it. I'm not gonna address it. All right, I'm scared to ask these questions. So
here's where I will say the answer to the bottle is in the exact same place as the answer to the whole train fiasco, which is in the back of my head and probably won't be answered until Arc 12.
It's not even in the red book. It's just somewhere in the ether.
Quite literally, it is not in the red book.
Oh no.
Eli's panicking now. Pure Glaceon actually does ask, are you planning on basing any of the arcs on mythological events, just like how Arc 4 was Hercules? Maybe. They'll kind of come when they do. At the end of Arc 3, we introduced the Keldeo tasks, and then from there, I don't remember what my logic was, but I threw them into those tasks. But
I will say, like, Arc 4, the tasks, like, yeah, that's based on, like, the myth of Hercules, but isn't the actual like lore for Keldeo also based on that, right? To a certain degree, or am I wrong? Am I just completely off base?
The 12 task thing is the thing I made up. The prove yourself to the swords is lore based. Like that is actually a thing. Okay. So I just put more specific like terms on it.
Okay.
Like how do you prove yourself? I was just yourself mistaken. Through 12 tasks.
Like I said, most good references are wasted on me. So
but yeah, so mythological events, other arcs, maybe we'll see. If it does, it probably won't be as expansive as this arc was. So yeah. Let's see, because this happens, Kyle's now 10 levels higher. Well, we'll see how that works out.
Stay tuned.
Did Ralph keep his levels? He was like 20 levels higher than when he first left. Did Ralph keep his levels or Kyle? Who are we talking about here?
I think this is talking about Ralph at the very end of the finale.
Oh, okay. Stay tuned. That'll be explained in Arc 0, I guess, in the best way.
Wait, it is?
Sort of.
For Ralph?
Sort of.
We didn't talk about Ralph much.
Which sort of gives the answer. Yeah, that's right. Rigel, thank you for reminding me. Swords of Justice and Keldor are based on the Three Musketeers, and then I think in the Three Musketeers there is a fourth one that
okay.
isn't it? I'm not as familiar with that story as I am with mythological things. Ralph-based questions. Those two in particular are sort of implied in our Arc 5 Episode 0 question. Pure Glacier, on your question about Ralph's parents thinking, that is also sort of implied through an explanation in the
yes, it is explained.
Yes.
Yes.
So that is that. We have caught up on chat. Let's go back to the
Have we
Discord.
caught up on chat?
I think
I'm going back through to make sure that there wasn't anything missed. But yeah, there wasn't anything missed.
Sort of the last couple of questions are just wait until the next episode. Damon Liger asks in our Discord, what was your favorite mission during the arc? I'll throw this to you.
Ooh.
Damon Liger's got a few of these, so we'll see what they have to say.
That's a great question. And to answer that question, I do kind of actually have to do something I never do and look at my notes.
His notes, which are literally just the riddles for each of the instruments and the 12 tests.
Yes.
I think that's basically.
Yes, that's literally all my notes. And I need to find.
What is my
I don't think I would need
favorite mission?
I assume this is the missions. Is this like the
tasks?
Like the Keldor tasks.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, just to be clear. I need to I can't read them because I have them struck through. I made life difficult for myself. Which ones were interesting? I feel like there was a really interesting wrinkle with the Saucebuck task.
And how it turned out like we just gave it to.
Yeah, no, I think that was just really funny in terms of how that actually worked itself out. And I don't know, I appreciated how that resolved itself. I found it kind of humorous in the midst of all of the panic of just like, yeah, here you go, have fun. And it wasn't like some of the others where they kind of just happened. Like the golden apple just kind of happened and it was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
The Skarmory one was eventful, of course. The Tight Belt one was also one that just happened.
The Tight Belt though did give us a classic 2 gold bars. 2 gold bars.
Oh yeah, that's true. The Tight Belt did give us 2 gold bars. The
funny thing is, okay, so when we recorded that in the Discord, and if someone feels like it whenever they feel like it, if you scroll back to somewhere around like mid-January in the Discord, probably in the main lockers channel, I just posted in the chat without any context, either a gif of a Slowbro or something like that.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, and just said 2 gold bars. And left it there, and nobody would have understood that until end of March.
Yeah, I'm curious if, because I don't remember anyone calling back to it, so I don't know if anyone.
No, yeah.
If it was just gnawing at the back of anyone's mind, I'm sure now someone's gonna dig it up and either like
scroll back through and be like,
pin that message or like reply to it, be like, I found it or something. Yeah. All
right, so the Sawsbuck one might be your favorite.
The Saucebuck one was interesting. The Bill Tank one was also.
I like the tournament arc and the way that you did that inside.
That was so early on. I forgot about that. We genuinely recorded that 6 months ago.
Probably,
oh my goodness, I forgot about that. Yeah,
that
wait. Hands down, it's that one. Like without question. The defeat the blue Embor task with the tournament arc. Yes. Because that was early on in the arc too, when I was having my fun with I could be chaotic.
Yes.
I could be chaotic, and it's kind of in character, so I could justify it.
Yeah, so I think that one might be one of my favorites.
Yeah, I think that is definitely clear number one, and then there's a lot of things that I like there. There were some tasks that were but there were some tasks that were pretty solid.
Yep. Continuation. So Damon Liger asked a couple of questions here. How much did Ralph derail the story with his Nat 1? And the Nat 1 he's referring to, that they're referring to is the breaking of the jar, or the breaking of the bottle.
Are we ever gonna know?
How much did the story derail? It did shift.
In what way, we'll never know. Correction, I'll never know. And you all in the audience may also never know.
It did shift things. I had an idea of how the story would eventually resolve, and that changed. It's hard for me to know what I would have done because the vast majority of these things are just plot points that I throw out there and then proceed to just hold on to until they're used eventually. But I did have an idea for what the bottle was going to do. Ralph broke the bottle, and then and at the time I was I was a little annoyed just because this is a really cool point. But in hindsight, it's a fantastic idea by Mansour to just be like, all right, let me just break the bottle again and just go from there. Oh man. In hindsight, probably a very good idea because I don't know how successful that plot point would have been in the way that I was thinking it would go. But yeah, that was a word salad if I ever heard one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have nothing to add there.
Yeah. I don't think.
Dude, I don't know what's in the red book. How am I supposed to know what's not in the red book?
There was no Slowbro meme. I knew I threw it somewhere. Maybe it's in announcements or something. There's a Slowbro.
Well,
great.
You say more recent than January 1st. I think it was before January. Was it not?
Oh, it might have been.
I think it had to. My phone.
Oh, that's probably true.
So I can't.
Yeah. So
let me.
There's a Slowbro. All right, there's a hidden Slowbro somewhere in the Discord. Somebody find either a Slowbro or a Slow King. I can't remember.
If there's no way you made the mistake of doing a Slow King.
Well, no, I would have had to find a GIF for it, right? It had to fit.
Yeah,
there is a missing.
I have sent the Slowbro GIF in our group chat.
Okay, in that case, there's a missing Pokemon in the Discord. Somebody go find it.
I'm just gonna very quickly look for this. Yep, I found it.
Yeah, okay, it's there.
I found it. It is well before January 2022.
Okay, and time doesn't work.
Also, wow, that. Wait, is that is a nice. Nice. I'm sorry. I'm just saying. I'm amused.
All right. Cool. That's Ralph's question at least. Is Manaphy going to get more fight time? Probably. As time goes on, Manaphy gets stronger. Manaphy becomes bigger and better. Probably gonna get more fight time.
Yeah.
If anything, this is a weird way Manaphy's about to take Ralph's role.
Yeah, I buy it.
The mischievous, headstrong Pokemon in the group.
Oh god, Manaphy's about to get me into some trouble. Oh yes.
That's probably the logic. I'd say that's more of you guys probably could guess that. And then finally, so far, who's your favorite NPC? We can ask that now.
2 gold bars.
There you go. 2 gold bars, man. Greatest character of all time. 2
gold bars is solid. I personally found Carlos Costa to be really hilarious. Just the concept of Carlos Costa.
So here we are in a different atmosphere, right? Why am I whispering is the question I should be asking.
This is also Carlos Costa talking fast.
Yeah.
I guess for me, this is kind of meta beyond the story, but just Anirudh being forced to talk so agonizingly slowly. Not only is it just the character itself kind of fun, a fun concept, but also I just know how much pain Anirudh is in voicing that character.
Yeah, I am regularly a faster talker, and to have to talk like this,
have to force yourself
talk like this,
to slow down, to
I have to
point
enunciate
where you
the words
are not only enunciating your syllables, but also forcing yourself to speak much slower than you normally would, in addition to
This is a good point to run the ad.
With my annoying impression must have been infuriating.
Applause. That quite literally, I think, took
honestly, if you had hit the ad button on Twitch there, I would have kept it going for the full minute. I would have done a minute. That's like 15 words in Carlos Costa's world. It's fine.
Yeah. Carlos Costa, good choice. Who's my favorite NPC? Big Bad Evil, but nobody knows that, and I've used that character voice like twice.
Also, if Big Bad Evil is someone who we actually know as an NPC, you know that. That's an unfair advantage.
This is where I would whistle, but I don't know if it would catch it particularly well. Who is someone else's voice that... I gotta go Susie, don't I? I gotta say Susie, I think. Probably because Susie is basically just me in the show. But I think Susie might be my favorite NPC. Definitely up there at the very least.
Susie is a solid NPC if you like story-breaking NPCs.
Yeah, if you like things to break, Susie's perfect.
I'm trying to think through what other NPCs I really like. Or rather are really memorable for me. There aren't that many that are memorable to me for the character. That's an ad. Oh, hello.
Oh shoot, I forgot to sneeze. Oh well.
I guess we're just gonna wait for this ad break to be done.
I guess. For those of you listening at home, live on Twitch, between the last Q&A and this one, I became an affiliate, which on the bright side means I get ads. On the downside, that means I get ads. So here we are. While you're here, check out here's a midsection. Quick, do I know the entire script? Hello, and thank you for listening.
You've got about 30 seconds.
Yeah, I gotta do this in, I think, 30 seconds. Hello, it's your GM PFDM Andrew himself, and thank you very much for listening to this episode. As always, be sure to follow, subscribe, and do all those things you ought to do when supporting a podcast such as ours. If you'd like to support us on Patreon. Follow us. I'm going off script. Thanks to GlitchX City for the music that you're listening to here. This is the 1 hour chill music video, lo-fi music, 1 hour mix. Please do support GlitchX City as much as you support us, if not more, because I mean this in all sincerity. They are the reason why the show is as good as it is. Forget my story. Without the music, it would kind of just be us talking.
You ran a little long on that ad read, buddy. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was looking at my ad manager here. It just finished at this point.
Okay. I was looking at where I was on, where the ad was for me on the stream. Anyways, where did we leave off?
Something about
NPCs. In terms of there aren't that many characters that many NPCs that stick out to me for the character as much. But there are some that stick out to me for the voice. Like hearing you do an Australian accent for Indy, priceless. As someone for whom that's the only accent I can kind of somewhat maybe do. And no, I'm not doing it here.
Don't forget to replicate a trailer for Reckless Roll. Shout out to Reckless Rollers. There you go. That's our promo for the Q&A. I think we did them relatively recently, but we'll do it again. Reckless Rollers. Check them out. Check out all the shows that we promote, because if we promote them, they're usually good. That's a quality, not a scratch guarantee right there.
Hit it with a guarantee.
The funny thing is, I don't know how many people in the audience are probably going to get that.
My guess is 2. And to the 2 of you, I'm sorry.
No context, by the way. If anyone's like, well, what do you mean? No context. But yeah, you were saying voices, characters.
That's kind of the gist on favorite NPC.
Cool. We'll move on to the next question. We'll do this one in the chat because I'm afraid it's going to be lost into the abyss potentially. Ragdoll asks, how did you design the map of the world?
It wasn't going to be lost. I had my eye on it. Most notably because it is the second to last message sent.
So the map, yes. So there I was at the very beginning in the ancient days of Not a Scratch, wondering how would I develop a map, because I don't draw, especially not maps and regions and stuff like that. Also, it looks like Chad is starting to find the
2 gold bars.
The gold bars.
2 gold bars.
There is a site that I used that develops a fantasy map. It's a fantasy map generator. It's called asgar.github.io. So azgar.github.io. what it does is it creates random maps. I kind of just regenerated that over and over again until I found one that I enjoyed, and then from there started manipulating it to make the regions or the states that I wanted, and like the location, how big they are, and stuff like that. But I do highly recommend this site. It's a fantastic site. I tend to go
as a fan of maps. I've just gone on that site and played in my free time. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't make maps for anything, and I just enjoy playing around with it. So
yeah, it's so much fun to go through, and it can go to as little details as like population size and items like that. It's very fun. So that is how the map was created, and then from there, just took a screenshot of that and posted that into the episode descriptions and Discord and items like that.
I believe there were no other chat questions that we missed while we were answering Discord questions.
Yep. So we'll bounce back
over.
Back over. Eli asks, did Kyle not know about the Spiritomb legend with 108 souls combining to form it? So did Kyle know, not Muhammad? What do you think? Do you think Kyle knows the legend of 108 souls to form it?
That's the thing. Kyle might have. I can't say Kyle knew for certain. But Kyle spent enough time around the book.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, how much have you read the book at this point?
Because Kyle, I think Kyle has treated the book so far more like an encyclopedia, in that he looks for what he's looking for, and he's found it with, pretty solid success. Yeah, he's had pretty solid success at like finding what he is looking for in the moment. But considering the book has been in Ralph's possession this whole time, Kyle has not been doing much just casual reading. So I'd say it's a coin toss as to whether Kyle knew. I just completely forgot as a player. Like, that didn't even click in my mind that was a possibility. Like, frankly, it should have clicked sooner. I don't know what I was doing.
All right. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah, it's really a question of how much would you have read the book at that point? And, I don't think you would have sat down and just gone through like a casual read of it, especially since it was in Ralph's possession. So, but yeah. Arc 4 Q&A question by Pure Glaceon in the Discord. When will the Arc 3 Q&A one-shots and other reward-related steps happen? I have been very bad with that. Some of them have already happened. Some of them are supposed to happen. And then, of course, now that we've ended Arc 4, it has its own giveaway that will probably be announced sometime between now and the end of May, because I got to figure out that.
That's a solid time span, I'd say.
Yeah.
Just in terms of fitting into what exists between Arc 4 and Arc 5.
Yep.
And like work you've got to do on that.
So that's the answer for that. Rigel asks, Arc 4 Q&A, Mansour and Muhammad, so in this case just Muhammad, how did you enjoy being the Ron and Hermione of this arc? How did you enjoy not being the main character in a way? Okay,
if that's what the question is. Because I was going to say, like, if this is like a specific Harry Potter reference, it is again wasted on me. But just in terms of being like the side characters, it was fun. I personally enjoyed trying to like worrying less about playing the game and trying to just play Anirudh instead. that was kind of my whole bit of fun in this arc. But no, it was fun. It was a cool change of pace. I think each arc has had its very own distinctive, feel and pace and kind of style to it. So having Arc 4 being Anirudh just kind of doing this thing and me and Mansour being along for the ride.
Be like, hey, that's a thing.
It was fun. It was a vibe.
Cool. Let's see if have there been anything in the chat? I'll scroll down a bit more.
The question that I see from Rigel, this is one that would be fun to save for later, but we can get into it now. So what can you tell us about the sister show or of one-shots that you're planning without being spoilery?
It's different. Next question. No.
Yep. Seems about right.
That's a good question. I don't know what I can share that I haven't shared already. So it's taking Pokemon and Majora's Mask, the Zelda game, and smashing them together. You can imply what that means as a result. There is a promo thing / like episode 0.0.0 that was rendering initially and then just didn't finish in time. But that'll probably be coming out later today. That will probably raise more questions and answers, but at the very least, explores a little bit more of what this area is. I think that will also kind of explain the guest's role as well.
Okay. So I'm assuming I can't ask the clarifying follow-ups I wanted to ask without being...
You can feel free to. I don't mind.
Well, because I was going to ask, because I know when you initially pitched the idea to me, rather than it being a series of one-shots, it was a campaign with a different player playing the character each.
It's still that.
It's still that? Okay.
It's still that. I think
it's similar to like what we did for the charity stream, just more long form.
Yeah, I've been promoting it as a bunch of connecting one-shots.
Because it functionally that's what it is. In reality, it's a campaign with a different player playing the same character each week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Which I'm personally really excited for. I'm also slightly terrified for it, but granted, I only have to be terrified for one day, but
yeah. I've been trying to fiddle down the time because I want to make it not long enough that it takes multiple days. Like my initial ideas for it could have spanned as long as like a full day's worth of recording time, which definitely would have been too much. But I also don't want it to be like, all right, let's have a thing for half an hour and then that wraps it up, because that's not fun either.
Yeah. Well, I know the initial idea that you were bouncing off of me was like, let's take the charity stream and let's scale it up.
Basically, that's still that. It's just finding out how much I scale it up, right?
Yeah. Just in terms of like, because for how polished you want it to be, right? Like how many guests can you have, and how deep can you go with each guest in the story?
The big thing that I have to figure out, and I'm not sure if I've hopefully planned it right, but it's not 100% sure, is that I need the story to effectively end or at least close at a spot where all of the guests have gone. Because I'll either have a situation where I don't have enough guests or I don't have enough story. Both of those could be problematic. Funnily enough, not having enough guests might be the easier thing, because then I could just do a wrap-up thing and close everything up myself.
Oh, yeah. I think it is objective. Yeah. I will say, I don't know if you would necessarily struggle for having enough story unless you have like a hard beginning and end.
I feel
like you're the type of person, like the way that you DM and like your style and everything, you would, the struggle for you would be last guest comes and it's not a clean ending because there's still so much that could be told.
I think the biggest issue that comes from this, and again, if you know how Majora's Mask works, you'll understand what I mean when I say this. Everything has to be established in advance, if not to you or to the guests in general, to my worldview. Like I can't create a building out of nowhere, especially if it goes against something mentioned previously. So if guest number 3 walks in and it's like, that's an empty plot of land, I can't go to guest 15 and be like, that's now a hospital building because it was an empty plot of land previously. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that has to be established in advance. Again, if you know how Majora's Mask works, you'll understand why that's the case. If you don't, that's cool. The thing I release later today will explain that.
Cool.
Yeah. Was there another chat question? I thought I saw one.
There's been a couple.
I'm able to answer.
A
lot of them are just like, why me?
Oh, I mean, I was going to ask you the 2 why questions together. Eli asks, why do you do this to us? In terms of giving us answers to questions that just raise more questions instead of answering the original question. And Glaciot asks specifically about the stream layout, why is the mug on the desk bigger than your face?
I drink a lot of coffee.
My
avatar drinks a lot of coffee.
Sorry to cut you off, but for people listening in post, we recorded this live on Theodore and Region Twitch. So if you want to reference, check out the Twitch channel and look at his just chatting thing, and you'll see that there is a mug on his desk that is bigger than his avatar's face.
Yes.
Like significantly bigger.
Yeah. So one thing, spatial awareness, right? Things are closer or bigger. Second thing, I drink a lot of coffee. At least the virtual avatar does. The real life me doesn't drink nearly as much coffee as this guy does.
I was gonna say, I didn't think you were a huge coffee drinker.
No, I go in waves. There'll be like months at a time that I'll drink coffee and then I'll go off it. I can feel myself getting back on it now. Like I've had a couple of cups of coffee over the past couple of weeks, and I can tell like, okay, this is going to be a daily thing. Just going to see how long we ride this out. But yeah. I did see another question by Pierre Glacion. How many arcs is the podcast going to be?
That's the next
Bold
one I was
question.
going to ask you, because that's the other question that we have.
4. Next question.
Again, you do this to us. You give just a cryptic answer that just raises more questions.
Well, I answered it. It's 4. There you go. Which makes perfect sense, of course.
Well, it says how many arcs is the podcast going to be? It's technically already 5, going on 6.
Well, looks like I've changed my mind already. Well, what are you gonna do?
No. Okay.
I will say this. I don't remember if you know this, because I think I've told you this. I don't know if I'm sticking to it. I have told Mohammed the end date that I initially planned for the show.
Yes, I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember vaguely the ballpark.
Like the timeline. I don't know if I'm sticking to that or not.
I think a lot of it depends on how Arc 5 goes.
Yes. Yeah.
I think, like, to give like a serious answer to the question, the next like couple months are going to be like very big in terms of like what the future of the show looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, like, you know, there's a major change that kind of changes, you know, Anirudh's long-term plans. So.
Yep. Yeah. So that's the answer there. Does that mean that the show ends this year? Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. I could have just told Mohammed it'll end in 2029. You know, right? Or maybe not. Who knows? Rigel, I'm slightly confused.
Anirudh may or may not have told me at some point last year that this was a decades-long commitment that I had gotten myself into, and I may or may not have begrudgingly accepted that fact.
I got a contract. Do I have a contract? Oh gosh, no, the contract. Rigel, I'm slightly confused by the question you tossed into chat, or the statement. Man, I thought maybe the PC would be like a family lineage throughout history, but not that there would just be one PC. Is this referring to like a replacement for Ralph?
No. This is for the new show.
Oh, for the new show.
For the
okay.
New show.
Yeah, no, that I've sort of established to most people. If I haven't been
to be
clear.
fair, the concept of, you know, like a PC, like a different PC and a family lineage, like I'm thinking like an Assassin's Creed type of thing. Like that would have been a sick concept. I would have loved that. But also the concept of just like one, like different people playing the same character, or like playing the player character for as loose as we can define the player character. I think that's also going to be fun. It is going to be unstable and it's going to be hilarious.
Yeah, I think that would be easier to do, because then alternatively it would turn into like, quite literally, it would be like a really short scale Zelda campaign, right? Of having the same iteration of Zelda show up at of Link showing up at different times, and Zelda, I guess, but
Yeah.
Having that different iteration. That's an interesting idea. I think I would not be able to do a campaign like that justice in the way that I could if it's the same person, because then I'd have to make separate campaigns for each individual effectively, and that'd be really complicated.
I will say, as someone who thought that as a player he was influencing your decisions as a DM and like driving the story, I do think that you could potentially make it work.
I think it's possible. That would require a lot.
There are definitely, like, it's definitely not exactly your DMing style, but it could work.
Cool. Anything else in chat? I saw something about Lucario. I'm confused. I'd be so sick if someone could be Ralph's father, the Lucario, or is that the military Lucario, or grandfather, or something like that. Interesting. I do not want this. I want to go.
I forgot that was a plot point from Arc 3. That's one that that's one that I don't know if we'll ever get closure on it. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. And my goodness, that's a plot point that just got dropped because we kind of just got sent.
Yeah, and I think based on how the story has devolved, we're probably not going to touch on Father Lucario.
Probably not. But like, my lord, what a plot thread just to leave out there. Oh, that is fantastic stuff.
Let's see, what do I got here?
So we still definitely have a fair bit in the Discord because we haven't touched on any of the recent questions.
Very true.
Yet.
So Ginny asked for the Arc 4 Q&A, none of you had a lot of experience with tabletop games when you went into making this podcast. How do you think you as players or GMs have changed over the last 2 years? Is there anything you would have handled differently now that you're more experienced?
I will say for me as a player, I've always struggled with developing really strong characters. And that's something that I don't know if I'd necessarily say I've grown that much in. For as much as has changed about Kyle's character, it almost feels like Kyle is just as basic a player character as he kind of was at the start. I don't know where I was going with that train of thought, but I promise that train of thought was going somewhere good, and I can't remember what it was. But yeah, no, I mean, I know I've still got a lot of work to do just in terms of like character work. I mean, harkening back to our improv days where we all met, character work was always something I really struggled with. So
the good old days.
I've definitely grown in that aspect, but could still definitely use work there.
How would I have done things differently? I don't know if I would have done this whole show. No, I'm kidding.
You know, this guy.
Yeah, you see this guy up here. So as I've probably mentioned way too many times for all of you in the audience, this show is my first experience with podcasting and with TTRPGs in general. The only things I had prior to this were listening to other shows. And the vast majority of those were Pokemon shows, so I didn't listen to many like D&D campaigns or Pathfinder or any of the more common systems like that. The first thing I had listened to was the old iteration of the Roaring Trainers. They've restarted recently.
Right, they have.
Critical Ditto, and when I was joining in, they had like just started. Who else was there? Quest Company Jr. had started. But like all of those shows were in their relative infancy. Yeah, Eli's like, not this again. Yeah. Or are you referring to the grilled cheese thing? Because that's also a thing.
Yeah, I think it's in reference to the grilled cheese, which we'll get to.
Maybe we'll see. So a lot of my experience coming into this was just not knowing what to do, and as a result, just making it up on the spot. Are there things I would handle differently? Probably spend more time establishing things in my head, if that makes any sense.
Interesting.
Although even that, I think, has its own pros and cons. It's hard to say.
I was gonna say, because I feel like the establishing things, I feel like one of the strengths you've had as a GM so far has been not establishing things for what it's worth. In terms of really being flexible and letting the story go where it has gone.
I think the big thing with me is that during the arc, I think, oh gosh, this is going nowhere. And then when I go back, especially doing the summary episodes, when I go back, I realize, oh, things flowed in a way that they don't. So I guess doing things more... The problem is I have no rules that could have been broken or could have been modified, because I walked into all of this with a complete blank slate. So it's hard to say what I would have done differently without anything else to go off of, if that makes any sense.
Interesting. Yeah.
I will say
this is oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna. There's probably some things that I probably could have done better, but a lot of those are just like tightening the gaps or like the spaces that may have been created because I was making things up on the spot. That's more of just the perfectionist style that I got.
Yeah, I will say something that popped to my head on my end, and this is not this is kind of outside of the TTRPG space, but you mentioned like this being your first podcasting experience, and like I definitely, if I could go back, I would have listened to
the show.
Not necessarily to the show, but to specifically myself in recording, especially early on, just in terms of one, being more used to the sound of my own voice, and also knowing what I sound like in recording to be able to more control that voice. But also I think it would have helped in terms of character work too. And also would have helped in terms of me knowing when my quality was on the fritz.
Basically,
and dealing with it promptly. Yeah, basically. Because as crazy as a thought as it is, as much as Anirudh makes it seem easy, one does not simply pick up a microphone and start talking and expect to be good. Anirudh makes it seem that way. He's the exception to the rule.
No, I a little does everybody know I'm sitting at home panicking myself about my own versions, and I just don't tell anyone about it.
Oh yeah. But we didn't need them to know that.
I mean, nothing. Nothing. Hey, Arc 4 question, next one.
There you go.
This one's been answered about the third cast member or another cast member. Kind of just wait to see how Arc 5 works. Well, this is an interesting question that we didn't touch on. So for the Arc 4 Q&A, did anything actually happen with Snow? Like, was heavily hinted back in Arc 3? With Ralph now gone, this is probably the only way we'll hear about this. I will throw this to chat/Muhammad right now. Do you want an answer to this, or should I throw this in the same boat as the train and...
Oh no, we're gonna have another one.
Because here's what I was saying. I have an answer to what this is, and it doesn't matter if it's like the other two. I'm still planning on using the answer to those.
Okay,
this one not,
I will say we did talk about it briefly in Arc 5 episodes here. Briefly.
This is about Snow in general. We're talking specifically about like that one instance in the forest where Snow may or may not have been.
Okay. If we're talking about that instance specifically,
yes.
Then yeah.
So I will.
Although I will also throw out that, you know, it like that is like I will throw out there. That's a timeline that we're not touching again, which means if you don't give us an answer, we'll never have an answer.
Right. So I'm asking
versus the other questions, which we still may potentially get an answer at some point. Like the possibility is there to get an answer. Versus there's no possibility to get an answer because this is something that'll never be addressed again.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, there are two things that are in that vault of, hey, maybe I know the answer, maybe I don't, which is bottle ? And what's up with that train. There might be another thing, I don't know if there is or not. Those who are in that vault. This one, chat screaming for an answer. Mohammed, I'll throw it to you. Do you want an answer, or do I throw this into the vault?
I'm sorry. What kind of a democracy is this where I have the say, even though you said you'll throw it to chat and me?
I did. I've seen chat's opinion. I want to know your opinion.
What's my opinion? My opinion is I am scared of chat.
That's a good opinion. So, was that Snow in the dealing with a lawyer case sort of thing? No.
Okay, all right. I was gonna say we're gonna get a one-word answer, and we're gonna be disappointed with the answer, but I guess we're not disappointed with the answer.
There's your answer, I guess. Yeah. No, that was not Snow.
Okay.
That was a diversion that I was attempting to do, trying to get Ralph to throw himself / bring the team somewhere else. Had they headed down there, that would have been stalling or done some other sort of situation in regard to the ghost. But that was not Snow. Snow is somewhere else. Where Snow is, I don't know.
Okay, why? Okay. You could have just left it at no, that wasn't Snow. You could have just left it at no, that wasn't Snow. Now everyone's gonna have the question of, well, where's Snow? What's Snow up to? Blah.
And like, yeah, there you go. There's an answer. Have fun with that. So Pure Glacian, if you missed it, was that Snow in the forest during the whole ghost saga thing? Was Snow about to get sued for something? No, it was not Snow. That was me trying to divert Ralph into a different sort of path that ultimately Ralph did not take.
And he would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for that meddling Kyle and his focus on plot progression.
Basically. Had they gone down there, that would have stalled some time out. You would have gone there, probably led to some dilemma.
Oh, it would have led it to running into the ghost.
Potentially. I don't know if I would have necessarily thrown the ghost there. I might have just used that as an opportunity, because you had a deadline as well.
That's true.
That's probably true. More of just the, ooh, look, the clock is running down more, sort of thing.
Fun.
So there's an answer. See, I give answers occasionally. That one's kind of been answered. Just what's up with things. Is Mansour going to stream with me from time to time? It really depends on schedule, right? Mansour's very busy with his schedule.
Yeah.
If there's time, of course. I'm always free. But again, he's very busy. So
in terms of the grand scale of like schedule and us doing things together, Mansour and I are on the opposite ends at this point.
Yeah, but we're like way too free. It's too free. I gotta tell him to get out. All right.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Sitting here texting me every minute that the Celtics make a bucket. I'm like, I get it. I'm watching the same. No.
I mean, but they're kind of hype right now. That's all I'm saying.
I am now out of. Oh no, I have one more question.
I was gonna say you are not out of Discord questions. I don't think.
Actually, I've only got one question in the Discord left, and then
Really?
it's just chat related ones. From Pokemon Crossroads on Twitter, the question for the Q&A: which Batman character are Ralph, Kyle, and Manaphy? You can stick to the Bat family or the Rogues Gallery or both or whatever.
Oh.
This is a two-part actually, but.
Oh man, I don't know Batman well enough.
Ooh.
I really don't know like Batman specific characters well enough to answer this question. Like,
I'm trying to think. So I know Batman decently well.
The question was Kyle, Ralph, Manaphy.
Kyle, Ralph, Manaphy.
No one's Batman. I know that much.
Yeah, none of you three are Batman.
No one's Bruce. I don't think anyone's like an Alfred either.
Between you three, probably not.
Yeah.
All right, I'm trying to think. Between the different Robins,
is Ralph as close as a story gets to a Jason Todd?
that's probably what I was thinking. Like young Jason Todd. Maybe?
Yeah, young Jason Todd. But also, if you think about the way Jason Todd like develops and ends up, that could happen to Ralph. that's not outside of the realm of possibility.
Yeah. All right. So there's what? Let me make sure I got the main Robins right. It's Dick Grayson, then it goes to Jason Todd, then Tim Drake, then Damian Wayne. Right? I think
that sounds about right.
I feel like
I actually
Kyle
didn't. I don't. This is the first time ever hearing of Damian Wayne, but I'll take your word.
He's the new one, I guess. He's Bruce and Talia's kid.
Bruce as a kid.
Bruce as a kid.
Yo, what?
Yep. Damian's a very violent character, at least initially speaking. So none of you guys are probably Damian. I think you might be Dick Grayson.
The first Robin.
The first Robin. The first Robin, I feel like is probably the most moral, like, good for goodness sake type of thing, which I feel like fits you probably as Kyle the best.
Yeah. That's definitely closest to Kyle.
Pure Glaceon saying Ralph is the Joker. Ralph is definitely not the Joker.
Ralph is not the Joker.
Ralph
is the Riddler. No, I'm joking.
I love the Riddler. I don't think that's gonna be Ralph though. So if Ralph is young problematic Jason Todd, Kyle is Dick Grayson, Manaphy is Ace the dog.
Manaphy's a babe. Like
Manaphy's Ace the dog. There you go. From Batman Beyond, or I guess Manaphy's a harder question.
Yeah, I think the thing with Manaphy is Manaphy doesn't have much. Manaphy's still too much of a sponge.
Yeah.
Right, and like most established characters in most fictional universes aren't sponges. Mm-hmm. Well, they're SpongeBob, but that's a different story.
Manaphy could be Bruce's daughter. Does Bruce have a daughter? This I don't know. Anyway, that's probably...
We've lost me.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this one. Also, which role on a football/baseball team would said characters be above? We'll go both footballs, so both football and soccer.
Okay.
So what position would you be?
What position would Kyle be? Kyle, this is interesting.
All right, let's start with baseball, I guess, because that's one of the
baseball's one I don't know as well. In just in terms of like
position wise, it's pretty straightforward, right? It's like the infield positions, the outfield positions.
Yeah, I mean, if we're boiling it down to that much, yeah,
DH or something.
I mean, if we're talking baseball, Ralph is absolutely a DH. He's absolutely. Like
he says, my job is smack ball far. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. Although he could also, Ralph could also be like MVP level outfielder too, just because he has so much energy to burn.
Oh sure, that I could see that as well.
So like stealing away home runs, leaping over the fence and stuff like that. That's something Ralph would do.
Okay, so we got Ralph at like midfield maybe.
I mean, I'd say we could have Ralph as an outfielder who is also an insanely good slugger. We could do that. Kyle's probably a pitcher.
I could see that. No
pitcher,
noise whatsoever.
He's a pitcher or a catcher.
No noise or whatever, just everything by signals.
Kyle might be a catcher,
I could see Kyle being a catcher much more.
Because like he's kind of, he wants to set the pace. He wants to kind of be in control, and he's like, hey, if there's a play to be made, I don't know if I trust someone else to be in a position to make the play.
Yeah, I can see that. Manaphy's manager, hands down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Manaphy got the schemes all set up.
Manaphy calls the shots.
Manaphy's a fan of the shift. There you go. I've just made everyone hate Manaphy.
Oh no.
All right.
In terms of football,
we'll go with soccer
Ralph?
first, because I think that might be what Crossroads is referring to. So
Okay,
in terms of soccer,
in terms of real football,
yeah, the real football.
real football. Yeah,
Ralph is a striker.
Cut that out. Ralph is absolutely a striker. Like true number 9.
A la Messi, a la Ronaldo. He's just number.
Well, no, not a la Messi. Like he is like your Mbappe's, your Ibras. You know, your Agueros. That style where he is. I put the ball in net and I do it well. Man, if he could be a winger. Man, if he could be a winger.
I could see
you
that.
know, really energetic, likes to get involved. May not focus as much on the defensive side, but will make a play if you need him to. Kyle's either a keeper or like a CDM, like a true like center midfielder, like a number 8. Is where I see Kyle.
I can see that. Yeah.
Just again that like controlling the pace and flow.
Yeah.
You know, that's that.
When it comes to real football, the American kind, yeah, woo.
I'm saying this right now. Kyle is like on the sidelines. Like I can't think of a single position that would fit him beyond like maybe free safety. That's the
if we're talking
only...
control. If we're talking control in football,
well, that would be quarterback or middle linebacker. But
right.
Kyle is not a quarterback. He's not that vocal leader, and Kyle is not a middle linebacker.
Could they be like a coverage linebacker? Maybe I don't know.
Well, that's why I said like maybe a free safety.
You're a quiet Jamal Adams or something.
I was thinking like a Devin McCourty type, you know.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like,
Ralph.
I
don't see him as quarterback though.
No, Ralph is a defensive player for sure. Ralph is either like
a corner.
I was thinking Ralph is a linebacker, like an out. Ralph is
like a Clay
Ralph
Matthews or something.
Like a Clay Matthews or like someone even more versatile than a Clay Matthews, like almost like a Von Miller or
who's someone that goes into both cover, because that's the thing, right? Everyone's supposed to specialize these days.
I've got Ralph's comp. Ralph is Troy Polamalu.
Ooh, yes.
Troy Polamalu, for people who don't know American football, technically he played as a safety, and the safety is typically, you know, one of two players that drops like really deep and like prevents any deep passes from happening. Except this guy was also just all over the field, all over the time. Like he just happened to be where the football was on every single play and make the play every single play and like either like intercept the pass or like knock the ball out of someone's hands or like, you know, jump over the big lineman and sack the quarterback. Like he was just everywhere all at once doing everything and no one understood why.
Yep.
That's rough.
Absolutely. No idea why you do what you do, but it works, so we're cool.
And no idea why you do what you do. It works. Like it is insanely effective, and it should not be this effective, but it is.
We just thumbs up and walk away.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. That definitely works.
Yeah.
Man, if he's QB, I think that's obvious.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, if he's babbling to the point. Guys, a spoiler alert for everything that's happened so far. Manaphy, all those babbles that Manaphy's just been saying, literally just plays, like NFL plays. Manaphy's out here like Spider 2 Y Banana and all that sort of thing.
Oh, no. Is Spider 2 Y Banana going to be one that ages poorly?
Hasn't it already, I think, based on who
but I mean,
it?
also... Yeah,
or just
but...
in terms of the play.
Oh, no. I'm not saying in terms of the play. Like, football X and O's, they go in and out of style all the time. It's more the coach.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think based on who said it.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
And that is
how much longer are you allowed to call Spider 2 Y Banana? That's the real question.
Yeah, what am I thinking? Come on, give me something interesting. The old 1940s, whatever the Andy Reid play that I'm thinking about, that they always reference about Tyreek Hill going down the field in the Super Bowl late. It's like 1960s championship game play.
Well, I forget what the exact play call was.
Yeah.
I remember the concept. I don't remember what the play call is, though. I don't know like football terminology that well. I just know where people go.
You go far. That's it.
Yep.
All right. Anyway,
we need to cut off this line of questioning before we devolve this into a Durant Talk Sports.
There. I gotta fix this. Sorry about that. There was somebody in chat that shouldn't have been in chat.
Welcome to the club.
Cool. That is everything I've got in Discord, I think. Are there any questions in chat? There's a continuation about the Batman talk. There should be a side story where Ralph joins the Earthquakes. That would be interesting.
That would be fun. That would be cool.
Ralph is He-Man. Since there's a set time for the podcast to end, does that mean there's an NAS doomsday clock that only I can see?
Canonically, there's a doomsday clock we all can see.
Yeah, there's a literal clock that's available. In terms of real life, I guess, technically speaking, yeah, there is.
That's the one that I don't know exactly where it's at. But
yeah,
in universe, there is literally a doomsday clock that is at the focal point of the story, except we never actually addressed it.
Yeah, we addressed it just kind of like, oh no, clock, anyway.
No, it's not even, oh no, clock. It's we're doing things. Oh, right, anyways, we're doing things.
There's a reason why we're doing things, yeah.
Right, yeah, there's a reason we keep track of the calendar and stuff. Although for Arc 4 really messed that up just in terms of like, oh, I guess we're not under any time crunch anymore because time doesn't exist. Time doesn't matter.
I still put the 30 days.
Yeah, true. There was that one, but that wasn't a doomsday clock. That was a
oh no, Kildeo's not accomplishing their goals clock.
Yeah,
and eventually turned into a doomsday clock. But in terms of more of like, oh no, the Spiritomb's gonna take my job. I can't have that.
Yeah, exactly.
I get paid handsomely for this. Okay, not a podcast time clock, but an IRL clock. Yes and no. There is a clock, but I have the power to just kind of wind it back if I feel like it, or push it forward. So that's the case for that. Those are all the questions we have. I will wait a couple of minutes for chat in case you want to throw another question at us regarding the show or ourselves and specific aspects of ourselves. We're not going to answer all of them. Cough, cough, cheese.
Okay, but there was one tangential question to that
okay.
I actually would want your answer on.
All right.
Eli asked, "What's your favorite type of pizza?" Between your normal thick crust style pizza, your deep dish, your New York style pizza, bagels, French bread pizza, etc.
That's a good question. In terms of style, like I know what I have on my pizza, but that's kind of just like cheese plus items, right? It's not really complicated. I'm not like Hawaiian or Greek or whatever other styles of pizza there are, because I don't really know.
Okay.
In terms of style of pizza, I guess just based on experience, New York style pizza, because that's the one I've had the most.
Like the thinnest of thin crusts, New York style.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I guess because I haven't had. Have I had Chicago? I might have had one slice of Chicago style pizza during like a layover I had once, but I don't remember it. So.
Also, this is something that I want to get your take on / your understanding on, because I don't know if you know more about this than I do. Detroit style pizza isn't a thing, right? That's just like a marketing gimmick that's come up in the past year. No one has ever said Detroit style pizza before 2021, right?
No one's ever said it, but it is a thing, right?
Is Detroit style pizza, is it a thing? Is it really?
It's a Little Caesars, right?
But that's no, it's not quite. It's not quite, because it's a deeper one. It's like a pizza in a baking dish. Like in a rectangular baking dish.
I have heard of Detroit style pizza in the past.
I literally had never heard of Detroit style pizza before last year.
I've heard it only from
and I'm
people
convinced
that are,
it's
like,
a marketing gimmick.
Though, so.
Yeah. Also, I've
it's just a marketing thing by the city of Detroit.
By the city of Detroit. Detroit was like, the Pistons are garbage, the Lions are garbage, the auto industry is in flux. We need something.
How long can we stall for more questions? Does that count as a question?
You do not want the answer to that, Glaceon. You do not want the answer to that. I have tabs pulled up where we could stay chatting on stream literally the rest of the day.
We could. However,
Anirudh, right now your team is losing.
What team? Wait, the Sixers? Oh no.
They are.
Yeah, we were losing. We did not have a lead during the entire regular game of the last game, and still won.
That's true. But y'all are down 3 at the start of the fourth quarter.
Who cares? That's one. Oh no one shoots threes on our team. We're doomed.
Yep. There it goes.
That's one Embiid 3.
There it goes. If only y'all had like a solid 3D player that could play in this game.
You like Danny Green or something?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Is Danny Green not in the game or something?
Oh no, I was thinking of someone else who is not playing in Toronto. Notably not playing in Toronto. Never mind.
But you're not shoot threes, does he?
You're not taking the bait. Yeah. Hey, he's at least a defensive guy. He can see some offense. He can see some offense.
I guess. All right. All right, I gotta scroll back because I lost through. Rigel had a legitimate question. So in this arc, there were a few jokes about Mansour being fired from the show. Did you at the time know that he would leave?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay, so when in the show? Because I think we made 1 or 2 jokes after we knew, but also throughout this.
But also after we knew was the last like 4 or 5 episodes of the arc.
Yeah.
Like these were jokes that we had made starting in arc 0.
Right. Yeah.
And like also like those jokes had like they were around in like arc 3 and like early arc 4 and stuff. I know whenever I made those jokes, I was just ribbing. I wasn't actually like
we
aware that he was thinking of leaving the show at all.
Yes.
Also, it was that like to shed like some light. Like it wasn't like Mansour had like premeditated this over like multiple years, because if so, he would have told us and we would have known and we'd have dealt with it in a different way.
Yeah.
It was just life happens, and as life happens, things change. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
All love, of course. When's the face reveal? I've done mine, technically. I've been on streams where face has been revealed. On this show, probably not, but who knows?
When is face reveal? For me, it's when there is a reason for face reveal. There is no reason for face reveal.
If Muhammad gets 1 million subscribers, he'll do a face reveal.
Oh my god, no. Yeah, it's no reason. It's a podcast. You're here for our voices.
Yeah, my logic
and when we're
is,
gaming, you're here for our game.
Yeah, my logic is, think of the cost of a solid camera. Like, I can't afford that. I'm busy doing life and other things.
Not to throw you under the bus, but you'd be surprised.
Like how good cameras can get.
I mean, even just like a solid webcam.
Oh, sure. But also audio. Like my, I have to connect like wires and stuff. Also, I'm regularly like wandering around during the week, so to move things back and forth would be complicated. That does seem like we are pretty much here. Muhammad, do you have any questions?
Do I have any questions?
Yeah, do you have any questions?
Yes, am I free to go?
That is a valid question.
Am I free?
Sure.
Do I have to? I'm just playing.
Sure. I guess.
I'm just playing. Help me.
I'm just playing. Help. I think we're good to go here.
Yeah, I don't know if I have any questions. If I have any questions, I'll ask you in Arc 5, Episode 0. Hey!
So I guess now that we're done the Q&A, thank you very much, everyone, for tossing us questions. Feel free to toss us more questions, which may or may not get answered over time, or we'll just wait until the Arc 5 Q&A. Some overall questions that you may or may not have about the near future of the show. The expectation is that this is the current schedule that may or may not change over time. This coming Tuesday is the Q&A episode. That's the one you're listening to right now. Hello. Thank you for joining us. The following Tuesday, which will be May 3rd, is likely going to be the summary episode of Arc 4. So keep that in mind. By the way, if you notice the previous summary episodes popping up to the top of the queue, I tried to unrelease and re-release them so they all are in the same clump. So don't worry if you end up seeing like Arc 3 summary episode again or other ones like that. It's all part of the schedule or the strategy. The following one, the 10th, is likely that week is likely going to be dedicated to any special episodes that I've been holding in the bank. Those are going to be used during this time. If I haven't recorded one with you and I've been meaning to, please let me know. I will try to schedule it or figure out something there. Then afterwards, the 17th, will be episode 0. Because there's an episode 0 where we just try to figure things out, and then things will go on from there. There may be a promo depending on how much we get recorded. There might be other items like this. That's kind of the general schedule, at least, so you can expect the show to restart somewhere in mid-May.
At least in terms of main story.
Yes, this term of main storyline. As always, there's a bunch of side stuff occurring on like Patreon and other series and that are spread out throughout the area. Feel free to support us through any methods that you do. Oh, I have forgotten something that I can mention later, but that's there. Eli, thank you very much for the question that Fran always gives, but of course Fran is unable to join us today because they have to catch up with the show. What is one question you were expecting to get but didn't?
I will say on my end, I don't know if there are any questions I was expecting to get that we didn't get. Like, I feel like everything that was kind of either confusing or shocking or very different about Arc 4 that we are willing and able to address, we were asked. I don't know, that's at least from my point of view. You know more than I do.
I was maybe expecting a question about the tarot deck because we didn't really dive into that at all.
Oh my god, you're absolutely right.
It was just something that I gave you and we used once at the very end of the show.
When I was forced to, yes.
Yeah, when I forced you to. Yeah. Like, what does it do? What does it mean? What is that? What's the stuff behind it? Maybe expecting a question about that. My answer really is that the idea about it has been thrown around in my head so much, I don't even know where I'm going with it. I do know it's, like, my initial idea was to have it be something that, thank you, Pure Glaceon, for asking the question. I was expecting it to turn into one of those, and I can't remember the exact answer to it because I know it was answered previously, but in D&D there's either like a custom skill or a made-up skill or something that I borrowed from Dimension 20 where certain characters are able to store rolls and use them in lieu of rolling themselves. That was my initial.
This is something in Arc 5 Episode 0 we kind of went over.
Yes.
In terms of like,
did we develop a valid answer for it?
In terms of like what it does and
yeah. No?
Yeah.
We did?
Well, yes, but also it's not much of an answer that hasn't already been established.
Okay.
Like we know functionally what it does, but in terms of like how it does what it does behind the scenes, that's TBD.
Oh, the behind the scenes stuff that I know. Funnily enough, the thing that doesn't matter enough.
Okay, that's to be TBD, as in to be disclosed by Anirudh at his discretion.
Yes. Pure Glaceon, what happens to Ralph's items? Does he still have them? This is answered in episode 0 of Arc 5. So
yeah,
wait until then.
I mean, a slight preview. Ralph doesn't have them.
Very true.
This is like I alluded to earlier. It's a new timeline, and we address everything that means, and we resolve as many conflicts as we can.
Yep.
Or I guess contradictions as we can, in that kind of what is it, hour and a half of just us scrambling and word vomiting.
Mm-hmm. Does Kyle have Ralph's items now? I don't know. I mean, I do know, but I don't know. But that, I think, does wrap things up there. There is one thing that I wanted to mention. So,
oh man, this was a long Q&A.
This is about as long as the other ones are. I think this.
Really?
I think so.
Are we usually this far over 2 hours?
Oh, I have my thing at the stream has been going for like 2 hours and a minute. Yeah.
Have I really been sitting in this chair for
2 hours?
Closer to 3 hours, actually.
Yeah.
Wow.
So here is what I will mention. And I'm going up and down about this. So, way back in the ancient days of this time last month, I tossed in the Discord a question regarding the flag of the country that you're from.
Oh my god, you did. I'm from the United States.
I know what country you're from. So this is something, thank you very much for everyone that answered the question. This was kind of just to get a gauge of what the population of the Discord is and like generally what our audience is, which, no surprise, heavily US centric. Unsurprising. What I have been planning, and I don't know, it's sort of far, but not as far, but kind of far into the application aspect of things. I am very, very interested in making pins, like collectible little pins. and I know how to do it, and I know how to get them, and how to like distribute them everywhere. The only thing I don't know is who's interested. And so that is where I toss it to you.
This is related to that? Yo, wait, curveball. Two separate things that existed in my mind of things you've told me have just converged, and I am shook. Yo. Cool.
I don't know what you're talking about, but so these, of course, are because these, unlike the way that we have the merch that we do currently, is it's print on demand, where basically once you order it, it is made and then shipped to you. All of that is established into the price and everything like that, and everything is all hunky-dory. We don't have to worry about it. These, on the other hand, the pins, I have to purchase in advance, bring them here, and then I ship them out from wherever I am. As you can tell, that becomes significantly more complicated, especially when it comes to like interest and stuff like that. So that is what that question was about. I was trying to figure out like shipping related stuff, and like would I have to bother worrying about European shipping or not, or international shipping. Yes, which is a good thing, but also a thing that I had to read up in advance. But now that I know what I'm doing for the most part, I'm gauging interest in who's interested in these sort of pins. I have a bunch of ideas what they are. They are going to be collectibles. They are going to be relatively limited quantity, blah, 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 because it's all depending on how I get them. But keep that in mind in the future. I will do some sort of pre-order related thing sometime in the near future, and I'll explain how exactly that'll work. Apologies in advance if things get complicated, although it's probably just going to get complicated for me. So that is that.
I have a question.
Please ask.
Will I be able to get my limited edition collectible not a scratch pins PSA graded?
What they do? No, I don't. What? These aren't cards, you know that, right?
Well, no, but I mean, in terms of like, great quality and condition and everything.
Look up how that would apply, I guess. I don't know. Do your own research on that regard. My job is just to
not me immediately typing it in.
Can you PSA things that aren't popular?
The answer, I can't tell.
Good talk.
They have a whole website though. Wait, collectible values and price.
So that is being announced. Of course, as usual, there'll be worldwide shipping and all this sort of things. PSA grading is you hear it referring to with like trading cards and stuff. It's to value the quality of, in most cases, the card itself.
Well, not just quality, but actual like value.
Yes, yeah. So this is where you see
they just straight up do appraisals for like cards and like things at auctions and souvenirs and collectibles and all that good stuff.
This is where if you hear about like the a Charizard card going on sale for $100,000 or something like that, it's usually because it's been graded by a company like PSA.
PSA magazine exists. Yo, they're big time.
Yeah, they're huge. I would expect, especially.
Well, I know they're huge. I didn't know that they did like, grading and valuations for like auctions and like all that stuff. I just kind of thought they were in the trading card space, but no, they're everywhere.
So there you go. Formal announcement of a thing that I am planning at some point in the future. I need to gauge interest, so I will try to, as much as possible, try to promote the idea of it. If you are interested in them at some point in the future, not now because it's not set up, you can go to www.notascratchcast.com, go to the merch section, pre-order yours. They will be sent to you between now and the end of 2023 because I need to, of course, plan.
Shipping is hard.
Yeah, I gotta figure out how much to buy and then how much to get it out that, and then also like pricing as well because I gotta figure that out as well. That's the case there. As mentioned previously, when it comes to the other show that I do, that is sort of named. There's a name somewhere. It's in the Red Book, but I don't know what the name is.
There's a name.
There is a name. Is there a name?
Are we gonna find out the name today?
We can. I gotta find it on the page.
I was just looking at the promo thing that you're putting out.
In the promo thing, it does not say the name.
Oh, wait. Where's this promo thing? Is it not going on the feed that show is going to be on?
Lord knows where it's going on.
Yes, the classic dilemma.
But yeah. So the series name, I've sort of implied this, haven't I? Yeah, the E-Clock. E-Clock is a series. So that's a series. The E-Clock, whatever that means.
The electronic alarm clock, the bane of all of our existences.
It's all about
and also the saving grace of all of our existences.
Very true.
Very much like the show.
Let us see here. So, yeah, so that the promo / a little snippet into what exactly that's going to be about is coming out soon. There's going to be a series go subscribe to that whenever that comes out, whatever that's going to be named. If you want to know all that information, follow me on Twitter at the Duran Region, or follow Not a Scratch at Not a Scratchcast. Email us at notascratchcast@gmail.com if you think that's the ideal way to contact us. Discord, Twitter, YouTube. There's going to be a YouTube video that's going to be posted on the main YouTube channel as well, because I need to do something with that. And other places as well. There's stuff above me, below me, to the left, to the right, to the slide. Back up real smooth.
This is the stream outro. I thought you were doing the episode. Oh my goodness, I'm so confused.
I don't know what's going on. Look, nobody knows what's going on. Okay, that wraps things up. I need to end this before I lose track. Eli, sure, there's a Pokemon League, Discord Pokemon League, that exists at some point.
Oh right. I've been slacking on that. That's my bad.
That's his job. Pure Clay sounds like that's still a thing. Apparently, I don't run that, so.
We've done exhibition battles and I haven't uploaded them.
Yikes.
I don't know if I still have them. Oh boy.
Double yikes. We might just do maybe a reset. Who knows?
Another tournament.
If you're interested in joining that and you're a member of the Discord or not, join the Discord first off, and second off, join that, because maybe that'll be something interesting in the future.
You get a special role and you can be added in a special way.
Yes. It is very special. That is basically everything that we've got here. There's a few announcements and other things that'll be popping up over time. Be sure to check out the queue. For all of you listening on the podcasting platform that you're listening to this on, thank you very much for listening. We hope that you have enjoyed. I have been your PM, your DM, your GM, Anaro himself.
And I've been Mohammed, answering questions about the show.
And until next time, take care.